Greetings and welcome to episode 314 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news, culture, and video game discussion podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy here, Alex Aaron. I'm joined this week, allegedly, by Keith Robinson.
Allegedly, yes. Keith Allegedly Robinson is back on the podcast. You are not dreaming. Or maybe you are. Maybe you had another heat wave and you're passed out on the floor.
That's it.
Say hi to people.
That's it. That's what happened. How are you? How are you? It's been a minute.
Still alive!
Oh, yeah. I forgot that was your thing. Yeah, every week. How are you, Keith? I'm still alive. I was always waiting for the moment where you didn't say that, and I would just be like, oh, shit.
Just wearing one of my hoodies up.
Yeah.
Who accepted the call?
I'm not that like hard up for like co-hosts in Moody's absence that I need to like call a corpse to to co-host the podcast with me. I mean, it's felt like that the last couple of weeks because I've literally had like in 2 weeks I've had like 5 cancellations because people have been getting sick. So it's been a ride. It's like, oh, do you want to do the podcast? Yes. And then it would be like, I have COVID. Oh, okay. Do you want to do the podcast? Yes. I've hurt my back. Oh, God.
I did continually feel bad for Elfie because every time she seems to be on, it's...
No, we fixed that last time. Remember? She wasn't doomed. Yeah, it's just that those 2 podcasts. Yeah. I mean, the doom in the first one was because I had COVID. Like, part of the doom of the first one was I didn't really know what was happening.
It was all like reproductive choice stuff in America I was alluding to, but yeah.
It was.
You did have COVID in one of them.
Yeah. But, you know, also, when the host of the podcast has COVID and is deteriorating rapidly before your very eyes, I'm sure that must be pretty stressful. Don't worry, I don't have COVID this time. Don't worry, Keith, it's fine. I'm just like, literally, like my phone went up. My phone goes off 10 minutes before a podcast because like I've got it set in my calendar for like 7:30 is podcast time, and I was literally like watching. Wasn't even like the England women's Euro Championships match. It was like that finished like an hour ago. And it was like, oh shit, I've got to go and do a podcast. And I was like, how am I supposed to do a podcast about video games? Like, I'm feeling all of the emotions right now. What do I got to sit down and be like calm and talk about, video games. Yes, very interesting. And just like trying to make it look like I wasn't crying about football, a game I don't follow.
Yeah, I mean, just remember football is the game.
It's more than the game though. I mean, this was more than just the game. The women's Euros, the whole everything. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, it was like, it's more than just the football match that we won. But I'm here. I'm fine. I made it.
Yes. Yeah, seconds after I posted a gif of a cat being poked just to check where you were.
I was definitely not rushing around to get ready, like, because I was like, shit, yes, it's podcast time.
I definitely haven't been running around. I don't know if it's just out of shot, but my switches over there, I've just been playing Dead Cells over and over again.
Just, yeah, I'm good. I'm here. I'm present. I don't know, like, what to banter about. The thing that gets the conversation going, so that the first part of the podcast isn't like real thing we talk about in the podcast isn't super awkward.
I mean, I don't think the first part of this podcast is going to be super awkward because what we're going to be talking about.
No, it's just it gets the conversation going, right? It's like people are like I've been asked before, like, why we like spend like 10-15 minutes just chatting. And it's like, because like if we jump straight into it and we're like, it's like warming up to the it's like warming up into like the conversational thing. It's like you're always better like 15 minutes into a conversation than you're at the beginning of a conversation. So I just started I just decided to start with like chatting about whatever.
Yeah, I mean, my brain is like totally not in gear. I've spoken to one person today so far.
Exactly, right?
You. But I don't think I really need to speak on this podcast because, to be honest, that's kind of my role, was just to go allegedly during news articles to prevent you getting sued, or just to like nod and not fall asleep.
That's not true. You've contributed greatly to the podcast in the past.
Yes.
And I will have no besmirchment of your name by yourself. I don't even care if it's you besmirching your own name. I will not have it.
But it's fine to besmirch me when it comes to D&D, because I do watch this podcast and I do know what you're talking about.
I don't besmirch. I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
You're my dungeon master. Why would I besmirch you? I want to live.
Funny way of showing it at times, but yeah, you want to live.
It's my part to besmirch.
Yeah. I mean, I had to slightly bend the rules slightly, just to make sure that you weren't killed by your own barbarian again.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. You do realize the target on the other side of two of your party members, right?
I'm gonna throw a lightning javelin, and like I did the good player thing, because I could have metagamed there and pointed out several problems with that idea.
Firing a lightning bolt at a phoenix, like a lightning
at
phoenix,
a lightning bird, at a bird made of lightning, and like. I was like, it wasn't even like me. So I was standing between them. We'll set the scene. Fuck it. It's just chatting. Who gives a shit? We'll set the scene. We were all badly hurt, fighting a lightning bird, which was literally a bird made of lightning. And like, I was standing next to the lightning bird, inside.
For those who know,
I just called it lightning bird. Inside our druid, who was what we call a sploosh bear, was a bear, an elemental bear made entirely of water. I'd been trapped inside the bear because he did his move thing, and it caught me, and I was like trapped. So I was like trapped inside water between Elfie and a lightning bird, and then she was like, "I'm gonna throw my lightning javelin at it," and like everybody was like, lightning, water conducts lightning," and like Amy's trapped inside water, in the path of the javelin, and my problem.
I was kind of laissez-faire about the fact that no matter what was gonna happen, he was gonna get hit by a lightning bolt,
and my problem with it wasn't even necessarily that I was gonna get exploded by a fucking barbarian, but like it's not even gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But I didn't metagame. I didn't point out that Elfie was doing something to hurt me and only me.
Yeah. I think it's sort of like there's some part of like internal DMness from her is the fact that no matter what character she plays, she does love getting that friendly fire in. First character was a ranger, and it was kind of understandable with AoE attacks. It's kind of less understandable. This is the second incident with the melee barbarian friendly fire.
She was talking to me about the character she wants to play. She wants to play next, and I was like, cool, let me just play, like, what's the furthest back I can stand? Like, can I be like a tactical sniper with one of those sniper rifles that functions from like a mile away? Is that possible? Because like,
I mean, pretty much.
I don't want to be anywhere near her. Like in the next campaign, like I thought the friendly firing was over. Like when she like switched to being a giant man who swings a giant axe, and like I've come closer to death at her hands this time than I did when she was launching AoE attacks. Yeah. We have a fucking druid who has like massive AoE attacks who has done less damage to me.
I think I may be wrong, but in 2 campaigns with those, because your 2 characters are still playing the same ones, the only AoE that you have been accidentally caught in was in that episode, which was the you accidentally grappled inside the water bear when it went to grab the bird, as opposed because the only other time you jumped into
I was gonna say, like, you use the word accidentally. I There was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
It was very heroic, though.
Yeah.
I tackled a hag
Rugby
into a
tackle.
moonbeam because I was like, I can't damage this hag, but that moonbeam can.
Yeah. Kind of that Thor Ragnarok thing. Like, I can't defeat you.
Yeah.
Buddy.
But he can. That's like my character's entire like philosophy of like hanging with Paul's character.
Yeah.
I can't defeat you, but he can. Because everybody always watches out for my character because she's got the big sword. She's small but buff.
You got like what? I mean, it's kind of like a Sith lightsaber, but it's also the sword,
it's the sword from Doom Eternal. But yeah, like she's small but buff, and like you could see yourself like her kicking the shit out of you. But it's the guy standing next to her.
Raves at everyone.
The scruffy guy. He's the one you got to watch out for because he's gonna he could, if he became a supervillain, it would be over like for the world. Like the world would be doomed. It's that simple.
Yeah, it wouldn't take that. I don't think you'd ever notice that they turned on you. You'd just be thinking for a moment and then just cast blight on you.
He would never turn on me.
Yeah,
we're like that.
I did have a little bit of like Schadenfreude when the arc like Phoenix just it directly it was almost then it directly like it just moved to everyone and damaged you with lightning and then just stopped in the middle of all of yours. And it's just like, it stopped still. And LB's character just like ran up and hit it. And it's like, all right, yeah, you've downed it. How do you want to do this? And then as soon as she finished describing how she did it, I just described it exploding in lightning and almost TPKing the party.
I do want to point out in our Discord call, because we do it on Discord, and we've got the chat running. Like, I did post the GIF of the exploding person from Terminator, Terminator 2, before you described what was going to happen when it died. Because I said, I don't fall for it, Keith.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very specifically like it hovered like right in between all of you. This was like,
it's going to explode. It's going to explode. I'm on 6 hit points.
that graphic over was much more in tune for in line 4, LPs. Oh, well, just like the actual Phoenix, like, all right, I'll just run up and hit it with my axe.
We all thought that was a good idea. You can't blame that one on her.
Oh no, but the GIF is more appropriate because, like, all right, the first thing that happens is that your axe dents and like just the look of horror on her face. And the second bit is, I'll just check how much damage that is she takes. Yeah, getting close to either of those creatures or hitting either of those creatures is not a good idea.
We'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's run up and hitting them, but yeah. So, we've discussed D&D.
We never get to discuss D&D on this podcast. Even when Alfie's about.
Yeah.
It was the T-shirt you were wearing. Wait, what does the rest of it say? Okay, yeah. If you buy into that whole, like, oh, the DM's trying to kill you.
No. No, I've always purposely killed one character, and that was, well, 2 characters. They were both yours, and I had your blessing at the time, because one of them you were sick of playing, and the other one we kind of got to the end of the run.
Yep.
For your character story. Absolutely.
That's why I played D&D. Or, like, I guess tabletop RPGs, like...
Yeah, because one of them was D&D and one of them was Star Trek.
Star Trek. It's, God, I'd love to, like, play, like, Star Trek with those guys. Oh, my God, actually, no, I wouldn't. I was like, I love to play Star Trek with those guys. Actually, would I?
Yeah, Elfie's kind of Klingon.
We'll be like fucking. It'll be like, Amy, go lead an away team to the planet, and I'll be like, okay. And then like while I'm down there, like peacefully negotiating with like the fucking Klingons or some shit, Elfie will just be on the bridge, and she'll suddenly be like, we need to nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. And then she'll fire a photon torpedo at me.
Yeah. I mean, I think Shimon would be perfectly at home. Well, almost perfectly at home. Perfectly at home in lower decks.
I feel like if our D&D group did a Star Trek like TTRPG, it'd be 20% Deep Space Nine because it's your favorite Star Trek, and then it would be like 10% Strange New Worlds just because like I know that's the kind of tone you would try and go for.
Yeah.
And then 70% Lower Decks because that's the tone that the group assembled before you would inevitably take it.
Yeah. I mean, you sat through like a few different series from what the very first tabletop RPG we did was Star Trek.
So I bought a Star Trek book. I thought it was a choose your own adventure book, and I bought it. And then that was how I've learned what a tabletop role playing game was.
Unicorn or Last Unicorn.
Last Unicorn games, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, I'm gutted they took down the memory beta thing for that because that had like everything on.
They support I mean that was a decent system, but like there's a new system that's supposed to be pretty good. Or like the newest system, not a new system. Like
there's been a few since the last.
I watched that.
Was made when Star Trek Next Generations was still on the air, I believe, and DS9 was just coming out. That was like the DS9 was lit and Voyager hadn't come out when that thing finished its run.
I remember it was in the basement in Forbidden Planet. I bought that at the same time I bought the first Star Trek New Frontier book. So that was quite a formative trip to Forbidden Planet. As it turns out.
Yeah. We could do a whole podcast with just me, you, and Moody at one point of just Star Trek. Because there's a whole lot I could say about Star Trek New Frontier. I never read all of it. But there was definitely some interesting choices from the writers.
I mean, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I can't disagree on remembering how book 6 ends. Like, yep, I can't say I disagree.
I'm just looking at a certain flag above one of your shoulders and just thinking of one of the characters.
I'm just remembering what's happening to that planet that's got suffering from earthquakes? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That is harking back to the original Star Trek, though.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, no. Yeah, just wow. Yeah. What if we did play D&D next, though? Like, what if we did some else?
I mean, it goes in circles, doesn't it? I think it was Star Trek, Stargate, the Star Trek D&D, Stargate, back to Star Trek.
We tried Vampire.
D&D. We tried that. We also tried Dragon Ball Z, which was probably
fucking ridiculous. I'm so sorry that I inflicted that upon you.
It's not because it just shows you about why it's important to actually QA test tabletop games.
Yep.
Any game which requires you to roll 60 d6 for a punch has not been thought through.
Yeah.
And now, admittedly, it was a little taller than this.
It wasn't a big book.
It was about the width of a choose your own adventure book. To
probably
be honest,
still got around here somewhere.
I don't want to like if anything, especially we've missed something in there, but it did.
We might have done. We were only like teenagers at the time.
Yeah, you're 18 at the time, but yeah, I'm sure it was like a very quickly done cash-in for the season. I mean, to be honest, we played Stargate so much that we noticed that there were several issues with balance.
Yeah, but we were just sort of like in that moment where it was like we could like sort of fix them ourselves by like homebrews and stuff. Like it's like, oh, there's an issue with this, but if we do this,
staff weapons critting on an 18 to 20 in the way like crits worked in that system just meant instant kill.
Look, I stand by that health system. It
was very good, that health system, but there was the issue with the
there was the issue with like the staff weapons, and then you crit and you're done. That's it, you're down. But like I feel like if you get shot by a Gould staff weapon, like you're down. And that's it, you're down.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've always like the thing I've always like thought about D&D's health system is like there's none of that like cinematic flair unless you like bring it in yourself, where it's like, you know, like it's a sword fight. It isn't a couple of people like stabbing each other repeatedly until one of them goes down. It's like, you know, you do and then you block and then you duck and then maybe try to shoot the leg and then you do the thing, where it's just like it can be a bit static in D&D. Whereas Stargates was, if you get hit but it's not critical, it goes on to your other health pool, which is much bigger, which is a close miss. So it's like, you know, like fucking bullets flying all over, or like think blows
but
up.
most people like attribute like actual like, you know, like injuries and stuff, but it actually had it as the mechanic of like, oh, this was a near miss, or like you get winded by a hit instead of you get to, if it's not a crit, you can walk it off. You've got like a couple of scratches or a bruise. If you get crit, it's okay. This is problematic.
You've just been shot. like you've just been shot. Like there's no other better way to describe it. It's like if you get crit, you've just been shot. Like motherfucker. Like
yeah.
I like
one thing I did like about that how did AoE explosions and that. It's like where it, like the damage dissipated, it's like halved moving out for like the big explosions.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, nuclear blast has got a heck of a range.
That's it. I'm going to campaign our D&D group to become a something else group. Probably not a vampire group. That's too RP heavy for some of our players. I don't mean that derogatorily, by the way, if any of those players are watching. It's just where we all enjoy different things.
Yeah.
Like I play a fighter because I just go on autopilot in combat unless the rule of cool is activated.
Yeah. I really do think you should have gone for Battlemaster. I think it would have.
I definitely should have done that. But you live and learn. Anyway, should we get this show on the road?
We'll get the show on the road.
We don't like we're padding. We don't have that. We have a lot to talk about, but also not really. So let's talk about like fucking D&D for like 2 hours. It's a game.
Yeah. And it has video games. And Wizard of the Coast has just opening a new AAA studio.
They did
to develop video games.
They did. I can't wait for them all to be live service MMOs and Destiny type games, and for my heart to just shatter into.
Yeah.
The movie looks good though.
Yeah. We'll see what that's like. I don't think I could handle it being a Princess Bride scenario where it flips in between.
No, I
think it's gonna keep be like what is Game of Shadows? Not Game of Shadows.
The Gamers. Like I've seen the best version of that.
Yeah, even with Chris Pine being like comedic genius in it, it wouldn't manage to top that.
I'm gonna have to go and watch.
You remember you're playing a woman, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and watch those films again. But yeah, it looks good. Like, imagine a D&D movie just being fun, emulating the Dungeons and Dragons experience instead of just trying to be like a Game of Thrones or whatever. Anyway, yes, this is the Words About Games podcast. Every Monday, you can get a video version of the show on youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk or an audio version on a variety of platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and some that I have never heard of. I say that every week, and I guess I can't really say that because I've obviously heard of them because they're on the page for Anchor. Yeah. But it's snappier, right? Some I've never clicked on, but my podcast is there through the magic of Anchor.fm. There are timestamps in the description wherever you choose to get your podcast so you can see what we've been chatting about. Skip around or watch the entire podcast backwards if you like. We don't mind. We're just happy that you're here. If you'd like to support the show or our content directly, you can buy us a coffee at coffee.com/wordsaboutgames. Lastly, if you want to hang out with us while we play some games, head over to twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. And that's it. That's the intro. We nailed it.
Yep.
Almost a quarter of the podcast. Almost, allegedly. Come on. You missed the perfect opportunity there.
Don't worry, I'm sure it'll turn up again.
We're not doing news this week. Spoiler alert.
Allegedly.
I'll see what I can do.
Give me some news.
I'll see what I can do to, like, bait you into saying allegedly.
Yeah.
I've got to walk that fine line between trying to bait you into saying it but not getting banned.
Tactically? I just have it. Around positions moving.
So as the title of the podcast might give away, we're just doing something chill today, which is our games of the year so far. We finally did it. We finally hit the bottom of the barrel. The Words About Games podcast has been going around for at least more than half a decade. 314 episodes, and we finally doing what all those other content creators do in the middle of the year, where they're like, oh, let's generate some clicks and do Game of the Year halfway through the year. We've joined.
You have your reasons.
I do have my reasons. It's true. Again, it was like a short notice. What do I put in this podcast? Oh, I'll do this. Like next week is going to be like Amy Unleashed. So
yeah, Amy will be critical of all gaming news.
Amy and her co-host,
yeah.
A brand new co-host who's never been on the podcast before.
Woo!
And we're gonna probably talk some shit about some video game companies, but for now we're going to talk some nice things about some video game companies, or more specifically some video games.
Karma.
You're building it up so I can spend it next week. I like it. See? Like
that's how games work, isn't it?
Oh, man. You ever just, like, you haven't done something for a few years, or, like, a couple of years, and then, like, you do something else in its place, and you think, yeah, this is good. Like, you know, I'm doing the new thing, and it's good. It's replaced the old thing. But then you do the old thing again, and you're like, damn, I remember why this was great. I'm talking about me and you being on a podcast together.
Yeah.
just in case I was being too sold there. Oh man, the back and forth built over the course of how long has it been? I knew that would get you. Just what? You want me to do how much maths?
I mean, how many years have I known you? More than half our lives.
More than 20. I could definitely say it's more than 20. Those age-old days, we became friends because
23?
of... Yeah. How did we even become friends? What was our first conversation? It was something to do with Star Trek, right? I made a Star Trek reference. And then you were like, oh, I know that. That's Star Trek. But, like, I can't remember how we were standing in proximity to each other, talking to each other.
No idea.
In that moment.
I'm aware that, just to drop the mood, sadly, one of my best friends had to move away because his mum had passed on, and his dad was taking him away. So I was in the market for a best friend, and one of my other friends was being a bit of a part of the male anatomy, I would say. And then you appeared.
Igor. See what I did there?
Yeah. But no, I can't actually remember how we met.
I just went, started talking about Star Trek. I've arrived. 23 years later, we're still talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
No Star Trek games, though. Not yet.
Time.
Not yet. There's supposed to be one. We'll see if that actually happens in 2022.
Yeah.
Now, I text you this because, like, you know, again, co-host lined up, ready to go.
Yeah.
COVID happened. It's becoming the story of my life. And
2 years now, isn't it, of just like COVID.
And then COVID happened. But like I texted you, I was like, "This is the idea I've got for the podcast," and you're like, "Cool, yeah." And then he texts me the next day, and we're like, "So the first part, game of the year so far this year, might be a bit awkward."
Yeah, I haven't played a new game this year.
Sure.
Now, my computer is falling apart, and I'm hoping it gets to the end of this podcast. But I literally have lost access to my Steam account, so I can't actually play games at the moment. However, if this came out like a month later, I would definitely have played a couple of games because I am looking forward to playing a couple of games that come out this year.
And luckily, we've got a portion of the podcast just for that.
Yeah.
The second part. Spoiler
I mean,
alert.
there's games which I've been looking forward to come out, but more to watch other people play.
Sure.
Or I just want to come out and do well because they seemed really interesting. You'll have heard of several of them. One is Sifu.
Sifu. I was on this very podcast with Joseph Moran, host of Mooney has just signed into the document. Sorry, I got really distracted there. Mooney's just appeared in the Google Doc. Host of the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, and he got the review code for it. Mm-hmm. And our podcast came out just as the embargo lifted, so I got to talk. So we talked about we got to listen to him talk about that. Yeah. It was very divisive when it came out. I never actually played it. Some people loved it, some people didn't love it. But I was not in the market. I had played a lot of Elden Ring. Or I was about to play a lot of Elden Ring, one of the two. I was not in the market for a super hard kung fu brawler, so I kind of didn't play it.
I saw a picture of it today, and it's I want to attempt to pronounce the character's name. I think she's called Sakura from Street Fighter. She's like a high school Japanese girl.
Sure.
And her entire plot in Street Fighter is that she fancies like the protagonist of Street Fighter, the Ken in the white shirt, and she's like learned all his moves and is trying to impress him by winning the Street Fighting tournament. That is my full knowledge of the character. But someone has modded her in to Sifu as the protagonist.
Okay.
So all you get to see is some like little Japanese girl beat the hell out of all of these people with ridiculously hard like kung fu movie moves, and that just popped onto my timeline today. But yeah, that was a game I was really interested in. Trek to Yomi, which I know you reviewed. I saw your review of that.
Yeah. We'll be talking about reviews later. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Like they made a they made a game which was they made a 2D game which was very like evocative of like the filmmaking style of like old Japanese samurai movies and action movies without really realizing that like I also need to be able to see what I'm doing.
Yeah. See, the premise of it, to just see those black men, it looks visually amazing.
Mm-hmm. Can't deny that.
There's a small part in the back of my head when you're going on in your review about like these old-fashioned films and everything. It just reminded me of a game called Kung Fu Hustle from the original Xbox, where there's actually like you have to like fight your way through like original like set pieces of and you get the
what the fuck
in all of gaming history, which is immortal jumping Chinese vampires run.
Kung Fu was something Kung Fu Chaos. And we played. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we played it on Xbox. I remember. Yeah, we played that a lot. It was can't fault the game for like its looks and its visuals and its like atmosphere and its mood, even its story. Like it started off really slow, like, and you've heard me talk about it, and it irked me like quite a lot. Because like there's a lot of cool and interesting ideas, but they hide them like 3+ hours into the game, where it's like you start off and it's like this is a very, very like standard samurai story.
Yeah.
And then like halfway through the game, it's like you get almost killed and you go to hell, and you like go to like hell. And I'm like, and then like some weird and cool shit starts happening, and I'm like, why did you backload this game so much? Like, like, what did you? There's lots of cool stuff, but you have to go through like 3 hours of average storytelling stuff to get to it, and I was like, oh man, and it annoyed me more that they'd done that, but
yeah.
Yeah, this is fun. Hit me with them. I've obviously got games on a list, but like hit me with yours first.
So there was one I would probably have like tried to load up if my Steam wasn't dead, which came out a couple of days ago. Can you guess what it was called?
It wasn't Elden Ring.
No, not from a couple of days ago. Jeez.
Oh, you might be getting into it late. Bear and Breakfast. I haven't had a chance to play this yet, but it's on my list of like I have to play this before the end of the year.
The whole premise of this game just fits so well with my brother that I thought that's something I'm
literally wearing a wholesome direct t-shirt. like yeah, Bear and Breakfast, man. Like I get annoyed sometimes that like a lot of people that I talk video games about with, not a lot, maybe like half the people I talk video games about with like don't get unreasonably excited about games like Bear and Breakfast.
Bear and Breakfast. I've got a game coming out later in the year that I really want it to come out, and I really want it to be cool because it looks great and the premise is brilliant. But it's not on Fantasy Critic yet for some reason. You know the one I'm on about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, that's got like my like vision on it. But there's just that premise of a game where you play as bear running
Bear and Breakfast, and they called it Bear and Breakfast. Like,
yeah,
perfect.
I didn't even want to spoil it by watching too much. So I'm like, the people who turned up to this get really freaked out by the fact it's a bear. Or do you have to ninja your way through it without them realizing that you're a bear?
No,
I kind of wanted to do the latter.
It's like I'm gonna play this. Like, yeah, exactly. I'm in the same boat. It's like Stray came out, right? And like even one of my friends, Kirsty, like she streamed it last weekend, and I was like, I jumped in a stream for a little bit, and then I was like, look, I'm gonna play this, so I gotta go, because I'm definitely playing the cat game. Nice.
I think people are modding it so that you can get their own cats in the game as the Stray.
Yeah, I've seen someone modded Spyro the Dragon into it as well. You play Spyro?
Games, man.
Video games. What a concept. Yeah. Literally just wrote that joke into a video I'm writing right now, like I was writing last night. Continue. How many games have you got like on this list?
Of games that I want to play this year?
That have come out.
That have come out. See, there's not that. There's like ones that I was like interested in the premise because they're just kind of my jam, but that I would just not want to play for reasons.
Sure. I mean, I am a walking encyclopedia of video games. You say a name, and I've probably got something in the
yeah. There is things like, you know how much I love like fantasy.
I do.
And like, I am really into say like the whole urban fantasy and stuff. But there was a very popular book series which had a game come out this year, and I was like, nope. Not giving that specific person whose name is associated with this money.
Sure. Like what in fantasy you say?
Like urban fantasy, which is like modern day.
This is an urban fantasy.
Yeah. But no, I'm getting me to the Dresden Files, but that's going well off. Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff that I just got like, that might be cool, but I just haven't even bothered to like look this. I just don't have the energy to do it. Like Stray, it's like, oh, it sounds an interesting premise, but
it's only a few hours.
No, yeah, I'm just like
pick it up on a sale and just blast it in an afternoon.
Yeah, I don't have as much time now as I used to. Like Neon White was when I heard you review of it.
Oh my god, yes. Sorry.
But I was just like, I'm finding a lot of time at the moment. I don't have like the time or the energy to do stuff. Admittedly, since my computer has like died, I've realized I have more time to do stuff than I was expecting. I have gotten through quite a few models, some of which will scare the pants off you. Presuming you're wearing any at the moment. But yeah, I do have that tendency, and veterans of the podcast will know of it, of just like playing the same games like for hundreds of hours.
Nothing wrong with that.
And just I've played the sort of like the roguelike mode of Pathfinder Kingmaker so much that I've quadrupled the amount of time I played that compared to the campaign, and I only got like halfway through the campaign. But yeah, I kind of like seeing the interesting games that come out. But as you can see, I haven't actually played
Well,
many of them yet.
as you know, because you're a listener of this podcast, as well as an occasional guest host, like I made a vow to myself at the beginning of the year that I made a recent vow to myself, which like ties into this even more. But I don't know if we're going to talk about it later on or if I'm saving it for a future podcast. But it's about like what we're doing here on the channel. But I made a vow to myself to be like, I'm only going to play games I actually want to play. Like, because like that sounds ridiculous to anybody who doesn't do this, where it's like, oh, review games, yeah, cool. And like sometimes you got to do the big stuff. Sometimes you got to play the game that you might be a little bit interested in, right? But it's the big game, right? And everybody wants to know your opinion on it, so you got to have an opinion about it. What was that, sorry?
I coughed Halo Infinite. Yeah.
No, I loved Halo Infinite. I loved playing that. But like something like Horizon Forbidden West, where I wasn't in the mood for it. So, but I played it anyway, and I forced myself to play it.
Tried doing that with the first one, and it was just I just can't get into it.
I love the first one, but like
I think I burned myself out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, maybe. But like I might go back to it in the future and just be like, oh, I get it now. This is I get why I get this game now. But like yeah, what's happened is like I came with a prepared list of like the games. Like I've played more games than this, and I've enjoyed more games than I'm going to talk about. But there's one like big game on this list of like, hey, here are my favorite games of 2022 that I have played so far. there's like one big game, and that's it. Like I tend towards the kinds of games that you're talking about more than whatever. I don't even know, like, what's the next big AAA game that's coming out? Like God of War, which, to be fair, I am really looking forward to God of War. But like Saints Row, it's like, okay, it looks cool. Like, and I'm not gonna like say that like, you know, it doesn't look cool, but I don't know if I'm gonna play it because I don't know if I want to. Like, I'll play Bear and Breakfast instead, you know, like Stray or some of the other games that I've got on this list. For the second part of the podcast, but like,
I have some questions about the second part of the podcast because of something I've seen on your Fantasy Critic, but we'll come back to that.
Curious. So yeah, like if you've like gone through your like list of like things you are interested in playing once your computer works again.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that like I'm kind of interested in, like. But they don't have like release dates, so I'm not sure they're going to come out.
Yeah, we can do that. Like, because like I've got stuff on mine where it's like it might come out in 2022, it might not. But they say it's probably, maybe, definitely going to come out in 2022, so it counts. I'm
not too sure about one game, which is I'm 50-50 on it, which is Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, but I want to do my do my games of the year so far. I want to double that wish list of yours. Even though, like, you probably watch more of my reviews than most people, so you probably know all the games I'm going to talk about. Like, I'll get the one everybody knows I'm going to talk about out of the way first. Just talk about Elden Ring for a couple of minutes, right? Because like that, that's the 2022 game. Like, like we always talk about, like, there's a game or like two big games that define a year. And like we've already had 2022's defining game. It happened in February. It's called Elden Ring. Everybody was talking about it. Elfie was playing it. Elfie's never played a From Software game in her life. And for like a month, I couldn't get her to talk about anything else.
Yeah. Is it harder than Jedi Fallen Order?
Is it hard? Well, no, because I'm really good at video games. Like, it's challenging. It's not difficult. Like, in so much as there's a difference in those two things. Like, you just gotta. It's the challenge of like a game like Elden Ring is more a case of like, in like a different game, let's say Bayonetta. I'm just thinking of like a character action game. I'm just thinking of an action game. Like in terms of like Bayonetta, it's like if you're struggling with the game, you just drop the difficulty down and mash your way through it. Whereas with Elden Ring, it's like, or like Bloodborne or whatever, you've got to meet the game where it is. That's where the difficulty comes from in a game like that. It's like you've got to take advantage of all of the things that the game gives you. Like you can't bend that game to your play style. You've got to, like, there's different play styles in the game, and you can play the way that you want to play, but you've got to do it within, like, hey, you know, if you're a magic user, you're gonna need to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I mean, I did just watch someone today on something where they killed the first boss in Elden Ring, which is like 100% everyone thinks is meant to kill you as part of the game, and I just watched someone kill it.
Oh yeah. It is. If you die, you just continue the game, but you can kill it. It's difficult. That is difficult. That's, you know, you don't get healing or like you haven't got anything yet, but you can do it. You can do anything in Elden Ring eventually. But like, yeah, it's difficult. It's like a hazy memory. It feels like it was like years ago. I played Elden Ring in like 2 weeks because I knew there was going to be a patch that would nerf some of the things that I was using. So I was like, I gotta finish before this patch comes out. And like, I just had such a great experience with it. It was my first From Software game that I played at release. Because I only got into Bloodborne when we were locked down in 2020, and that was the game that sort of unlocked like the From Software games for me. So that was a fun experience in itself, just being like at the forefront of it, rather than like having like 5 years of like previous Bloodborne knowledge.
Yeah, I know of your love of Bloodborne, given you bought the board games.
It was a card game. The board game is really expensive. I really want the Dark Souls board game just for the miniatures, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to convince any of you to play it with me. It's like, oh, you want to play Dark Souls? Let's go, baby. But Bloodborne, the card game, is pretty good. Elden Ring was great. Like, it was like, you need to explore this big world, and it proved to me that it's not open worlds that I hate. There's always that thing of like, oh man, I'm so burned out on open worlds, but then here comes fucking Elden Ring with a massive open world, and I'm just loving exploring it. And it's not the open world that's the problem. It's how it works. I talked about this in a video about Ghostwire Tokyo and Horizon Forbidden West, but I was very clever and I didn't actually mention Elden Ring.
I noticed. Because
certain people who may or may not be listening to this podcast think the only reason I don't like Horizon is because I played Elden Ring. That's not how that works. And I also like Horizon. But yeah, it's just like it's you get to go on an adventure. Whereas like you play a game like Ghostwire Tokyo or Horizon, and it's like a person tells you a thing, and then it's like, here's a map market to go to the thing and do the thing, and then you do the thing and you come back. Or Elden Ring is just like, here's a big ass fucking map. Have fun. And it's like the meme, the Hobbit meme. I'm going on an adventure. Except Bilbo doesn't like run around the wrong corner and get lasered to death.
Yeah, like, we'll go to the Lonely Mountain. Why are we at the Black Gate?
Yeah. It'd be like if Bilbo ran out of the Shire and was immediately in Mordor. So yeah, that was that. I mean, that's the obvious first one. They get less obvious from here. Neon White. I'll do Neon White next because you mentioned it, to say that like that game consumed my life for like a week. I was obsessed like with that game. It's so impeccable. The gameplay is ridiculous. It makes you feel like a speedrunner. And like as you like learn how to do the things, because you've got to like platform your way. Like you get guns and shoot things every now and again, but like the cards that you pick up for the guns are like also your movement abilities, and it's about figuring out how to get from the beginning of the level to the end of the level as fast as possible. And you have to use those movement abilities to do it. And like once you like chain it all together to get like a gold medal in the game, in the level, you just feel incredible. It feels amazing. You feel like you just like did something unbelievable. And it's proper weird game. Like it's proper, like they called it in the marketing, it's a game for freaks by freaks. Yeah, it is. You'll love it. You will. And you don't
talk about dialogue, like things that came up, and I was like,
yeah. I was posting a few. Like I was posting a few screenshots on Twitter. I was just like, "Hey, this is this game." In between, like, holy shit! Like I just like did a level, like, and you just it's an indescribable feeling. It's a rush. It's an adrenaline rush. So like, what else have I got? Let's have a look. Let's do the Stanley Parable, Ultra Deluxe.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that.
Like,
played the original.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You call it the original. This is supposed to be a remaster, and it's a fucking sequel. They like Trojan horsed a sequel to the Stanley Parable.
Yeah. This isn't a remaster of like a remaster of a remaster. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
And you all know what I'm talking about.
We all know.
This is actually like, there's additional content. And yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of it, like it's like when you used to buy like the physical media of the games, it's like, oh, you get the like a few months after the game came out, or like a year after the game, you get both 1 and 2 in the same box. I'm thinking mostly like the Red Alert games and stuff. Yeah,
sure.
And yours like that, really. It's like, oh, this is like Red Alert plus Yuri's Revenge.
Yeah, this is the Stanley Parable and the Stanley Parable 2, and like, fair play to them for fucking making a sequel to a game that I didn't think you would have been able to make a sequel to.
Indeed.
And I'm calling it a sequel. I don't give a shit because that's what it is. Like, I bought it and played it because I love the Stanley Parable, like the first one, and I was like, "There's some new there's a bit of new content, mint." So like, I get to like, because I streamed it, the whole thing, and it was like, cool. I get to like stream this and share it with people, and like, I'll go through all the endings because I know where all the endings are for the Stanley Parable, so I can do that with like people who haven't like played the game. And then you get to the new content, which is literally a door, because it's the fucking Stanley Parable. And then like, it's that slow realization of, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't played it, but it's that slow realization of, wait, there's another game's worth of content in here.
Yeah, I mean, I came partway through your stream where you were, let's just say you were looking for things. And yeah, you're already like halfway through, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is, I mean, hats off to that narrator.
They fucking smashed it. Like, I was amazed by the end of it. I was really amazed. If you've played the first one, definitely, and you're like, you've looked at it and gone, oh, I don't know if I want to get the remaster, because like you will have, again, it's like double the content of the original game. It's a sequel. They just didn't call it one.
Yeah.
At least not outside the game.
Yeah.
The whole game is also about sequels.
Yeah.
In a really awesome way.
Yeah.
So I think we should talk about. I want to talk about Citizen the Sleeper as well, which is definitely one of my favorite games of 2022. Which is it's very tabletop, like in terms of like the way you play the game. And it's part visual novel, like in the way it tells its story, and you interact with characters and stuff. And you play a sleeper. He's like it's a person who uploaded their consciousness to company's servers and is put into a robot body. And then that robot body is like in indentured servitude to that company. Like, guess what? This is about capitalism. But like you escape onto this space station called the Ark, which is like it's full of it's like an independent, like free, like place. And you've got to try and survive. And like it's like done like on a daily basis kind of thing. So like your hunger will always go down, and your health, like whatever that, I can't remember what the health was called, will always go down, because it turns out like you have to, like the company built into your cyborg body that you have to take a drug that they give you, otherwise your body will start breaking down. Guess surprise, it's about capitalism. So you have to like find ways around that and stuff. But like at the beginning of every day, you roll dice, D6s, and then like you have like an array of D6s, and then you interact with things and do tasks and do quests and whatnot, like missions and stuff for people. And like the results of those quests, I'll call them quests, are determined by which dice you put into the thing, and then that's the result you get. So like if you've got a 6 and there's something really dangerous that you need to do, and you need to pass the thing, you take the 6 and you put it in there. And that's how the whole game works. It takes a bit of getting used to, because it's a very different gameplay style than like most of the games. But once you get into it, it's like it's all like really fluid. And it manages to do that rare thing of like, it's about capitalism, but like it's not like soul crushing. It's like it finds the hope and the optimism that sometimes when you make a story that criticizes capitalism, like you don't find that in a lot of that kind of fiction. Whereas this like finds like hope and optimism in the bonds of like people, which is the only thing that's going to get us through capitalism at this point. And it's a very cool game. It's a very awesome game. You can find a bunch of different endings and it's just good. The writing is extremely, extremely good, like to the level of like reading a good book. Like good. But sometimes you get to make decisions, and sometimes you get to fuck things up, and it's you get to find mushrooms, like, oh, this guy wants you to like find some mushrooms for him, or like, oh, you can help this woman start like try to like build a kitchen in the back of a bar. It's never like world-ending apocalypse stuff. It's just nice. So that is definitely one of my favorite games of the year. Again, I say I'm speaking to Keith, would probably really love this game, and it's available on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you can download it right now. Okay. Power Wash Simulator, which is a game I haven't talked about on the channel, but I've streamed it. It's
a relaxing game. I've seen people play it.
It's ridiculous. It's like, if you ask me to power wash something, like something in real life, I'll be like, nah, I'm not doing that. You ask me to, like, but I literally spent 3 hours listening to podcasts, just power washing a house that looked like a shoe.
Like 1,000 hours on Civ. I would just be sitting there doing like brainless acts really while watching something.
Yep, pretty much. Like it's just relaxing, like you say. Like, and it, like, you know, you get that satisfaction of you start off, because like there's that thing of like, how did everything get so dirty? And then it's like in the background there's like a volcano, so like volcano thing like covered everything. So that's how everything got so dirty. And like, so it's like you get that thing of like, you get to the playground, right, and it's all fucking covered in shit, and then it's like you just slowly like uncover this playground, and then when you get to the end, you can like step back and go, damn, I've accomplished something. In a video game.
There's something about, you know, using video games as like a means for like feeling accomplished, but we'll not go there.
Well, it's getting harder and harder to accomplish things in real life. So
yeah.
Quickly, because we're running up on making a mockery of the term "it's halftime."
Yeah.
Strange Horticulture is a fun game where you're a plant detective. Exactly, like you're in a plant shop in like ye olde England, and it's set in the northeast of England. Me and Ryan had fun spotting all of the things when I was streaming. And like you just identify plants, and then people come in and they're like, "Oh my god, I have a rash," and then you've got your book and you've got your plants, and you've got to figure out which plant to give them so that their rash like goes away. And then someone comes in and she's like, "Help me! I opened like there was a locked coffin inside of my inside of my grandma's house, and I opened it, and there was an amulet, and I've put the amulet on, and now I'm aging really fast." And you're like, "Sure, this might take a little bit more research." Gets a bit weird. It's fun though.
Yeah, how
Plant detective game. Norco, which is a point-and-click sci-fi game, very, very good writing, also available on Game Pass, was the winner of the Tribeca Games Festival last year. And I believe it's one of the best-rated games on OpenCritic currently, as it stands, behind Elden Ring. I think it's like second. And it is a remarkable game, point-and-click adventure game. Spoilers, it's about capitalism. For some reason, a lot of our video game storytellers are really worried about capitalism.
Yeah, let's get away from that because it's a little too real.
It's a really, really good game to play. Very, very engaging. Very well written. And the last one is Franken. It's a free game you can download on itch.io. And if you've ever played a JRPG, you'll find this game hilarious. And also, weirdly, if you've ever watched like old British science fiction shows, you'll find this game hilarious for an entirely different reason. But like, it was quite funny. I played it like because I'd seen a couple of people talking about how funny it was. I played it. It is really funny. And then I was talking to my friend Tori while we were playing Elden Ring together, and she like knows the developer. So I was like, "Oh, cool! Like that was fun." Telluride Games made me like fall off my chair laughing in a way that I haven't since Keith made me do that when we were playing Monster Prom. Some of the battle music, like. I'm just gonna say it because I feel like if I tell you this, you'll go and seek this game out when your PC works. But like, there's a moment in the game where you like the game transitions to battle to like a fight, like a JRPG style, and like I was like, "What's that music?" Because it doesn't sound like anything out of a video game ever, and it's the fucking Blake 7 theme.
God.
It was like that is genuinely fucking incredible. Like, yeah, there's a moment in the game where you're just like, "That's the Blake 7's thing." Blake 7 theme.
Oh, God.
And I'm just like, this person who made this game fucking gets it.
Yeah. Blake 7 is a massively deep cut.
Yeah, exactly. It's a joke for like 20 people.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those 20 people. The whole game's fantastic. Like the way it ends is just, again, like better than a lot of JRPGs. It's very self-aware in its humor, but not in a mean way. It's not like mean-spirited, like saying, "Huh, JRPGs suck and this is why." It's just like, hey, JRPGs are stupid. Like, they're great, but they can be stupid. Here are some examples. And like, it takes about an hour to play the game from start to finish. It's really good. And that's gonna do it. Like, I could talk about more, but we should move on to halftime. Whenever I do a podcast where we talk about actual video games, it's always like, shit, we're always running out of time. I hope I've added a few games to your wish list. If you could, get on your wish list.
Yeah, I can't actually access my wish list at the moment, but yeah.
The mental wish list. Yeah, we should do halftime. This is the thing we do on the podcast every week. indie game of the week. We see games. I see games get announced all the time. So I decided to make a part of the podcast to talk about them. Usually it's a buffer between shit and shit. It's an island where we can like take a breath and recover, and also talk about something really cool. This week's indie game of the week is Cryptmaster. Say Anything in Cryptmaster, the bizarre dungeon crawling adventure where words control everything. Gather your crew of undead heroes, then fill in the blanks to uncover their lost abilities and defeat eerie enemies. Along the way, choose your words carefully to conquer strange quests, charm weird characters, and play a variety of unexpected minigames from fishing, to bard rap battles, and so much more. Flex your imagination to conquer the crypt and unleash a whole new kind of spell casting. See what you did there. And then it's got some bullet points. Say anything you want. Interact with the world and conquer quests by typing or speaking any word you can think of. Each encounter has multiple solutions to discover. A weird, wild world. Travel through mysterious underground kingdoms and meet talking doors, flirtatious toads, sarcastic ghouls, and more. Noun, you're playing with power. Dungeon battles are fueled by words. Decipher forgotten spells, then type their names in battle to unleash the might of your undead heroes. Endlessly evolving gameplay. You'll encounter new gameplay mechanics from creature collecting to card combat to bard rap battles and more. And it's developed by Paul Hart, Lee Williams, and Akapara Games, published by Akapara Games, and it's coming soon to PC via Steam. There's a link in the description to the Steam store page where you can check the game out, watch the trailer. I don't know if there is a trailer, actually. I think it might just be screenshots. But you can wishlist the game as well.
I did check before. There is one video on the Steam page.
Cool. That's good. It must have been something. I went to a Steam page recently for a game and it didn't have a video, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like I'm not used to this something not having a trailer on Steam. But this looks interesting. The IGN helped announce it earlier in the week, and
the art style is certainly something.
Mm-hmm.
Monochromatic sort of early
like
monster manuals and beastries, where it's all the sort of like the black and white shade.
There are 3 surefire ways to become an indie game of the week on the Words About Games podcast. Number 1, a unique art style. Number 2, a unique gameplay hook. Number 3, cute animals. those are the 3. That's the formula.
Pick 2 of the boxes, then. I mean, when I initially read this, I read your notes from actually looking the game up, and I was wondering. I had seen you play something on stream before where you just like you were. It was another thing where like spelling was important, and you were taking words off a screen of like text messages and emails between people, changing them. Maybe like some cats or something would move around on the screen and stuff. And
letters are an adventure. Yeah, you had to find the words and put them in.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be that for a second, and then I looked at this and went, no, this is going to be like more like Words of the Dead, which was House of the Dead, but people had typewriters instead.
Yeah.
Under the vague idea that they were turning a shooter into a learning game.
Learning game, whatever works. Yeah. I guess.
This is neither of those things.
No. This is cool. It's fun. It's like, you have to like. It's like Zork.
Awkward graphics.
With graphics, and I imagine a bigger database of words. It's cool. So it's on the radar. Anything about words? Actually, yeah, that would be number 4 on the list. Anything about words, because branding. Let's roll on to part 2 of the podcast. We're still not doing news. I thought, what would you pair up with? What games have we played so far in 2022 that we love? And then I remembered, wait, there are more games coming out in 2022 that aren't out yet. Let's talk about them. Games that we're excited about in 2022. So I figure you've actually got some games on there. So we'll go back and forth for a bit until you run out. Yeah.
So, do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Well, the first one is coming out very soon, but I have seen multiple levels played online because they've been quite. They've given out a few things to like the larger games news sites and streamers. So, 2 Point Campus. which I loved 2 Point Hospital.
2 Point Hospital, right?
Yeah, was brilliant. I did kind of look at it like 2 Point Campus. What's this going to be like? And then it's just like, no, I can see this. This is kind of fun. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. 2 Point Hospital was awesome. Like, it recaptured that theme hospital spirit.
Yeah.
I love the idea of doing that. I love the idea of doing that in a school, like an academy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so like the next one to do would be like theme park, because that was the other one they did in the past. But no, they've gone to college instead. And yeah, they've added new mechanics and stuff. Like, the idea is not to like be the best like academic school. You're meant to be a good academic college, but you're also meant to provide the college experience, which is like the very American idea of this is what happens. So you actually get points for
2000s teen movies,
like, meeting their future spouse and stuff, or developing like those bonds. So I saw. Is it okay to plug another channel on here?
Do it, yeah, it's fine.
Outside Xbox has not only like gotten like several levels played on there, but they've also gotten like they made them rugs as in-game games, as like game item that you can get. But on one of them, they were just like, all right, in this one, the basically Ofsted went no, like, the American version of Ofsted went no, we're not funding this college anymore. So the students will fund it, but you have to be a party college. You've got to like get the like happiness of the students up, so they'll give you money to fund the college course. So they had the one thing like every year they had, like also every semester they had to do an emergency beach party to keep people's morale up. It was like the idea of like an emergency beach
party. I needed one of those a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Outside Xbox, fantastic channel, great people. Outside Extra, fantastic channel, great people. I don't know how much of a distinction there is between those two channels these days, but
yeah, no, I mean, I think they all play D&D.
Yes, Oxventure
channel
as well. Yeah. No, yeah, 2 Point Campus. Looking forward to it. It's not long as well. It's going to be available in Game Pass. Thank you, Game Pass deities. The idea that there are so many awesome video games coming out that I don't need to worry about like where I'm going to get them from is just fucking sweet.
Given the gameplay for like 2 Point Hospital, it would be something I would play with something which is like got a mouse on it.
Yeah. Like, well, you get it on PC. Like, there's a Game Pass app on PC, and I know that that's a sore subject with you right now. But
yeah, I don't know if that would work because I won't go into it. Right?
Yeah. His PC is going to eventually leave a smoldering crater in his floor if this keeps up. But there we go. That's a good summary. Okay, like so. I mean, I don't know if it's coming out this year. I feel like I've been holding on to this for years, but I mean, it's all my most anticipated game, full stop, is Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yeah, I was wondering.
It's been 3 years since I played a demo of that game at EGX on a Switch, and I there were times when I thought that was a fever dream. Like, did I imagine that? Did I just imagine an entire sequel to Hollow Knight? But no, it's back. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass. It was the whole thing in E3. Is it coming out this year? It doesn't seem like it, but it might still, because the window they gave was 12 months from June. So, you know.
Yeah.
Do I need, at this point, anybody listening to this podcast, do I need to explain why I'm looking forward to Hollow Knight Silksong again? I feel like I bring it up every 2 weeks. Naturally, like, I don't force it into the conversation, and my brain just goes to Hollow, because it's good. It's so good. Hollow Knight was so good. Silksong, like, you know, the changes they made, because it's a different character and a different moveset, like, they felt really good 3 years ago, and they've had 3 years to iterate and polish it. So 3.5 by the time it probably comes out.
Maybe even 4.
Maybe, yeah. But yes, Hollow Knight Silksong is the game I am most looking forward to.
I had a small heart attack there because an ad started.
I noticed. I covered it with a gushing about Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Like, I don't have a lot more that I can say about Hollow Knight. It's like, when you do the dialogue tree in like Mass Effect or something, you exhaust all of the options. I feel like I've exhausted all of the options for talking about Hollow Knight. So yeah, go for your next one.
Yeah, so this is a game I discovered randomly.
Best way.
Like bear and breakfast. Potionomics is I think how you say it.
Yep.
Which is just an amazing looking game. The art style in it is amazing. And the whole premise basically is you are a almost broke witch trying to run a potion store.
Sure.
It does mention, I think it's one of those card-based sort of games.
Yeah, there's a deck building, capitalism like dating sim, according to Steam's tags.
Yeah, I mean, there's dating. There's like.
I mean, we love dating. We love dating on this. We love dating sims on this channel.
I mean, not standard dating sims. Things
oh
like.
Oh God, no! Like, no. But we're going to talk about a few probably in the next half an hour.
Oh God, they have that secret Hattori boyfriend, have they?
No, that's a great game, and one day I'm going to make a video to prove it.
Yeah, no, Potionomics it looks amazing. It looks so good, and the premise and it just kind of fits in that sort of like niche of like fantasy like style things that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll probably play it, and then at some point in the D&D, your characters will wander into a town and find a very familiar looking potion shop.
Can I? But it's also a dating sim, so can I romance See, we're gonna do a little D&D tangent. It's gonna take less than 60 seconds. I've played the same character for 2 campaigns, and I'm looking forward to playing a third as that character later down the line. But I made a bard who was in a long-term committed relationship, which closed me off to some shenanigans that I would like to experience in the next campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had a good time, but
yeah.
Potionomics, like Elfie's mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's definitely her kind of game. And yeah, I'm interested. But when it comes out, it's just planned 2022. There's no window yet.
Fall 2022.
Fall 2022. I feel like that's a cozy autumn game.
Yeah.
We like cozy autumn games.
They posted something like yesterday, but it was just it looked like a couple of little bit like gifs of one of the romanceable characters, which is a bard. Now I come to think about it, I presume a female bard.
I'm in. Yeah. Wait, that's me. Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Like, and discovering games randomly is sometimes just the best way to discover a game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of am responsible for everyone else finding out about the game because I discovered it randomly on Twitter because of all the things I follow for D&D and like random video game stuff, and then I just like linked you and Elfie.
Do it. Like, that we have in the private Discord, we have that indie games I'd like to not forget channel. Like, that's not just for me. Like, drop shit in there, man. Like, I love to like see all the games. So should we do my most anticipated game of 2022?
Go for it.
That's probably actually coming out.
I was going to do that.
It's Mask of the Rose. Like, I've been super excited for this game all year. They kickstarted it last year. It's also a visual novel dating sim detective game, though, not a capitalism game. It's by Fail Better Games. Who made Sunless Sea and Sunless Skies. And it's set in the same universe, so very like eldritch, very eldritch horror. And I played the demo. I did a video of 15 Steam Next Fest demos video, and this was one of the demos I played. Yeah, and it did not dampen my hype for the game, and probably increased it. Like, the detective portion of the game is set up in the demo where someone dies, and you're like, shit, and you're gonna try and figure out how like they died. But it's also like Eldritch Horror London. It's like it's set right at the time when Victorian London, is like consumed by bats and dragged into a hole in the ground. And weird shit starts happening. No, I said starts. And like, but then like at the end of the demo, it's like the murder victim is now alive again, and you get in the game is you trying to solve the murder with the help of the murder victim. And along the way, you meet a lot of characters, and you can romance them or you can not, because there's options. Like there's stuff in the beginning of the game, like where it's like, hey, what are you looking for? Like, so there's like, because I talked to Alfie about this, she was really happy. There's like ace and arrow options like in the game. So like if you just want to like pursue friendships, or like you don't want to pursue relationships, you just want to pursue like fun, and you can also like matchmake other characters. So it's like, oh, these two characters should definitely get together.
So like it becomes a shipping simulator.
It becomes a bit of a shipping scene, I assume. Like I actually played that part. Like it was very much just an introduction that I played in the demo. But yeah, there's that. There's like you can play through the game, and then like you can like change details of the story. Like it was talking about at the end of the demo, like you'll be able to like change the murder victim, like the identity of the murder victim or the identity of the murderer and stuff, to like shake things up in the narrative. So it sounds like it's going to have a lot of replay value as well, which is cool.
I did just look at the Steam page, and I got a little bit of a chuckle when I looked down and saw that the games like this game, like recommended tab, Boyfriend Dungeon.
Games Amy never shuts up about. Boyfriend Dungeon. Well, there's another game that I'm surprised hasn't been like joined up with this game, but we're going to talk about that later. It was another Steam Next Fest demo Amy played, but right now it's Keith's turn to talk about games.
Yeah, I mean, I did the first one that like looking at my list that like pops off in my head is the Coat of the Lamb.
Nice.
Which looks a unique art style, looks kind of hilarious.
It's got that dark British humor, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not sure how I'll get to the like darker humor. It depends very much like at the time I'm playing it. If I can be, like, I'm not like a great person for bad stuff happening to good people, but it is very sort of dark. I mean, the trailer said it all, really. Within 3 seconds, you go from being the sacrificial victim to annihilating the evil cub and starting your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about this a little bit with Mooney post E3, because this was part of Devolver Digital's yearly E3 Psychosis event. There was a trailer for it, and like I agree that it looks awesome, and a lot of people are gonna love this game. But where my head's at right now, I can't play this. Like I can't put myself through a game where it's like, yeah, the little cute animals, and then you do bad things. No, I'm sorry. Like this game looks amazing, and I'm looking forward to reading and everybody's opinions, and like people loving this and watching it pop off and stuff. But for me, I just can't. Not with the headspace I've got right now.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I was like thinking about. It's like this could be like a real fun game that I enjoy, or it could be a game that I just don't have the will to play.
I don't have the spoons for this right now.
Yeah.
I said dark British humor. I've just looked up the developer. They're actually based in Australia. Oh, actually, they're part based in Australia, part based in the United Kingdom. So I wanted to be like, wait, are they actually British? Did I just insult them? Because like, I don't know, British can be an insult these days.
Yeah, not just these days. It can be an insult.
I mean, yes. Historically, we have not put our best foot forward on the world stage.
We put forward, usually into someone's face.
Yeah, that was perfect. You're never leaving. That's it. You're a permanent co-hosting in. I'm gonna get another really obvious one out of the way, which is God of War Ragnarok. Like,
yeah,
I have to pump that game up because God of War is amazing. The fourth one, not the first one.
No.
People like that, and that's cool, but I really don't. But God of War 2018 was just an amazing journey. And I look forward to seeing what's next. Like I'm not like, you know, I'm sure like the gameplay is going to be great and like there's going to be cool mechanics and stuff. Like throwing the axe in God of War 2018 was like a really satisfying experience that never lost its never lost its edge. Nice. Like 30, 40 hours into the game. But like it's the story and the characters and the exploration of the two main characters and their relationship and Kratos' relationship to his past that I'm here for, like way above like beating gods to death. Which is fun mechanically, but not what I'm into God of War for. And if you told Amy 10 years ago that you would be into the God of War series for its storytelling and character relationships, I would have been like, are we talking about the same God of War?
Yeah, I mean, the original God of War came out when we were starting to do D&D because it's the advert on the back of pretty much every D&D magazine that I got. So,
yeah, Toxic Masculinity, the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can keep that, thanks. But I'm so excited for God of War Ragnarok. Whether it comes out this year or not, I'm very excited for it. Is that playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it on my end. We live in very close proximity to each other.
And on the same flight path.
Yeah, so what's your next?
My next one is a maybe. I did kickstart this, or I kickstarted the second version, and this may be the third game that they produced, but it's Monster Prom Road Trip.
This is on my list too.
Yeah,
I played a demo of it at Steam Next Fest.
Yeah, I haven't played a demo of it. I've kind of like kept myself away from it. I mean, I haven't played as much of the second one as the first one, but it's just when you absolutely need to just break away the walls of reality down and just laugh your head off for no apparent reason, or potentially kill one of your best friends with laughing. It is a great game.
Yeah.
It's got, I think, two of our favorite characters in it as well, which is Penny and Scott.
It's focused on Penny and because there's Penny and Scott and the player, or the players because it's multiplayer, going on a road trip, and because the law of the road trip is you have like two options every time you get to a road. That's literally what Penny says in the game, when she's explaining how it works, and then like you go to a location. And it's very much more survival based. You can't let any of the meters drop to zero. If any one of the meters drops to zero, you lose. And the road trip's over. Like you fail the road trip or whatever. There are some really interesting mechanics that weren't implemented in the demo, but they explained them in the demo that sound really interesting. But again, one, it's my two favorite characters from Monster Prom.
The high-functioning drug addict party girl, which is Penny the ghost, can't die because she's a ghost, and then it's the werewolf himbo of Scott.
In the demo, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's probably going to be a moment in the game. In the demo that I played, there's scene, like you get scenes, right? And like every location you go to, you get three choices. Like, so a situation occurs, you get three choices, you pick one, and then the scene occurs. And, like, there's a scene at a location, and all I'm going to talk about is, like, it's a skincare routine. And I picked an option, and I would say my level of mirth was on a par with the time you unhinged your jaw and bees shot out, which is the thing that where I laughed and fell off the chair on a live stream. Like I didn't fall out of my chair.
That's what you expect on Interdimensional Jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. But like, no, there was at least one moment where I was like, "This is there. This is where that is." It's more cooperative and more competitive than the original games simultaneously, and it's genuinely like when this game comes out, I don't give a shit if it's just you and me. We're getting on the first available live stream, and we're just gonna play this game.
I mean, it's a little thing that we haven't done much with the second one.
I know it's a shame that it's like it didn't line up properly with like timings and stuff for the second one. But like I haven't played like half an hour of the third one. I played it twice. I played the demo twice. So it was like a half an hour or an hour of the third one. Like I'd like. Whereas the second one kind of got pushed aside for like other games that were coming out at the time. When the third one comes out, that game is going to push other things aside. I want to push other things aside for that game.
And he just kicks like someone out the door to go.
Like there's been Steam avatar for years has been Penny from Monster Prom, and I will never change it.
I fully endorse that one.
Penny and Scott, best characters. Yeah. I fucking love Monster Prom. Yeah. And I'm so excited for Monster Prom 3. So given that I kind of jumped on that because it was one of mine. Do you have another one you want to do?
Well, no, I'll tell you what. I'm going to just ask you a question about something which has appeared on your Fantasy Critic.
This is about thirsty suitors.
It is about thirsty suitors.
I knew this was going to be about thirsty suitors. How did you not know about thirsty suitors?
I don't know how. I just looked before when I was double checking to see if there's anything obvious I was missing, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's they announced it at the Game Awards last year. Oh my fucking god! Like, do you know how? Like, is it just me, or is it like in a year's time? It's going to be impossible to browse the web with all the pop-ups and stuff you get, right? Like, I can't just like look at an article without being assaulted. So it was announced at the Game Awards. Like, I want to make sure I got this right last year with the tagline: "Battle your exes and disappoint your parents." So at that moment, it's on my radar.
I've just looked at I've just Google searched images, and I've got a picture of 3 people. 2 of which appear to be wearing very little clothing, and there's this the dialogue boxes. You know that unlimited breadsticks aren't really unlimited. They cut you off after 47 refills.
Yeah. So thirsty suitors. You play Jala who goes home, and like you get into like JRPG battles with your exes. It's a bit Scott Pilgrim.
I've been waiting much lately because I've heard Black Sheep on the radio.
Aye. They released the Brie Larson song version. I've been listening to that recently. It's like, so you've got to like, you fight your exes, not by like fighting them, but by like, it's like word battles. So like what you're seeing there, the breadsticks thing, it's part of the game's combat system. It just looks cool as fuck. It was funnily enough, I talked about this with Norcore before. It was the Tribeca Games Festival 2022 winner. Like, of all the games they selected, that was the one that got voted as like, the most exciting, anticipated, whatever. I don't know what the actual thing is. I just know it won it. And it's fully like a game made by people from a different culture to mine. Which is another thing that always interests me about video games. And it looks fucking bananas. Like, like it looks bonkers. Like, good. Like, if you don't know what Thirsty Suitors is, and you do the Keith thing and Google it, and just look at it. Like, it's crackers. There's like cooking stuff, and then like you've got the skateboarding, and you can summon your like as Jala. You can summon Jala's mother in like combat as like a summon. And there's a demo.
The thing with this was it lobster, isn't it?
Yeah, but more tied to like that culture. And there's a demo available on Steam. I haven't played it yet, but I intend to. And like I've seen the Scott Pilgrim thing come up where it's like, oh, you battle your exes. I've seen like Persona like mentioned in sort of like the because you know, like people writing like previews and impressions and stuff. Like quick shorthand is to compare it to other things that exist. And I have seen Persona come up. Obviously, very different game to Persona.
Yeah, that's a game I spent a lot of time on.
But it looks excellent. And again, the tagline was "Battle your exes, disappoint your parents."
Yeah.
Man, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was, I did have to. I've just suddenly remembered I had Steam on my phone, and I don't think it brings up your wish list because there was one game on there which I would
have. Well, if you can can you talk about a different game? Because I can access your wish list.
Oh, there is. I can only think of like one game. I can't remember the actual name of it. It's on my wish list, and it is basically a sort of musical game.
You're gonna have to narrow that. I actually know of a few. Basically, I actually know of a few musicals.
Yeah.
It's Stray Gods, right?
Stray Gods.
I told you, I'm an encyclopedia of video games.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what it was, and I just could not for the life of me think of it.
Yeah. Stray Gods, the musical. The role-playing musical, it's called.
Yeah.
Having just Googled it. In a modern fantasy where the Greek gods live hidden among us, grace is granted the power of a muse. And then I clicked on it, and the blurb has changed. Here we go. It's granted the power of a muse to draw others into musical numbers, power that you'll need to find out the truth behind your predecessor's death before time runs out. Unravel the mystery of the last muse through your choices in a beautifully hand-illustrated role-playing musical. This is from the guy who wrote. He was the lead writer and the creator of Dragon Age.
Right on the left.
Yeah, and like I'm sure it's got like a ridiculous cast as well, which might come in handy for a musical. Yeah, so you got Laura Bailey, who I don't need to explain to you. And you've got Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who has done voice work. She was the voice director. She was the voice director for She-Ra on Netflix, and she was the vocalist on those tracks from the Silent Hill soundtrack that had singing in English. Not chanting. So like it's like think Buffy once more with feeling, Hades Town and Wicked. That's what it says on the thing.
Yeah.
And then the video game, think with video games where character and story take center stage, think Dream Daddy, Life is Strange, and Dragon Age. I mean, like I have a lot of buttons, and this game is finding a surprising amount of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see why it's on the wish list.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
It's not on my list. Like, yeah, I completely forgot about it.
No.
Thank you for reminding me this game exists.
Yeah, I was kind of forgot about it until we were doing this. I was just like, oh, wait, hang on a second.
Wait, I have a wish list.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't actually have a release date for this year. It doesn't have one. It's just to be determined.
Yeah, well, who cares? TBD, TBD. It could be determined that it's coming out in 2022. You don't know. No one knows.
Normally, I kind of think of like, has it got like, has it got something? And then it's like, well, if it doesn't have something, then I won't stick it on me.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Like, unless it literally says 2023, it's valid, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any more?
No, that's kind of my list.
All right, then. I'm going to talk in depth about one game because I'm super excited for it. And then I'm going to speed run the rest of the games I wrote down because I'm super excited for those too, but I don't need to talk in depth about them. But the one I'm incredibly excited for is Signalis. And I knew this game existed because it was at the Tribeca Games Festival in 2021. So I knew it existed. But like Stray Gods, it just slipped my mind. And then there was a demo for Steam Next Fest. And like, because of how the games that were at Tribeca in 2021 turned out, like for me personally and what I thought of them, like I've made it a mission. I've made it like a thing in my brain to prioritize games that are at that are selected for those festivals, because like, to like keep an eye on. Because like last year's was like Norco, this Signalis, you had Sable, you had other games that escape me now. Now that I've put myself on the spot.
Yeah.
So like I played the demo for Signalis as part of the Next Fest thing, and like literally like it ended, and I was mad as hell that I couldn't keep playing. Like it's like a bit Resident Evil, and then like in terms of like the way like its gameplay is structured, but then like it's a bit Eldritch horror. It's a bit otherworldly. There's definitely like a lot of psychological like stuff going on. It just felt incredible to play for like 30 minutes. And I needed more of it. And it's coming out in October. On Game Pass. Unfortunately, for my fantasy critic team, Moody watched that video.
Yeah.
And sniped my bid for it.
Yeah, like the last thing on his list.
Sometimes I feel like he just like knows what games I'm bidding for and bids on them because he knows that I'm bidding for them after the Neon White incident.
Yeah.
Because I did a similar thing with that. I played a demo with Neon White, and then I was like, fuck, this game's going to be amazing. And he was like, oh, I don't think it's going to do very well. Boom! Highest scoring game on my list. But anyway, yeah, Signalis, like, I think it's flying under the radar. But I am there. Day one. Thanks to Game Pass. But I would have bought it anyway. It looks, I might buy it anyway just to support the devs. It looks sick. And that's like top tier. Like, I am incredibly excited to play the remainder of this game. Demos, man. What a concept. More games need demos. Like, I could talk about a bunch of games I played at Next Fest, but like most of them won't come out until next year.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, take your time. I've got enough to play. If only you knew what I was doing right now. Not right now, but right now. In this time period. Anyway, I said I was going to speedrun my last few. So I'm going to do that. A Plague Tale Requiem. Because A Plague Tale Innocence is underrated as fuck, and it was awesome. And like, they have money now. You can tell. Like, A Plague Tale Innocence was a cool game with a really good story at its heart. But it was janky. Like, I don't think anyone even who loves the game would deny it's jank. Plague Tale Requiem looks like the same thing. It looks like a cool game with awesome story and cool character relationship at its heart. But they have money now, so it's not janky anymore. And that's cool. I like that. Metal Hellsinger, which is I played a demo of that, and I felt powerful, like the adrenaline that was coursing through my veins when I finished that demo. Holy shit! Like, you know how they say like Doom is almost like a rhythm game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. This is that game, and like it does this thing, right? Where it's like you got the beat of the metal, bam, 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 and like eventually you are just like playing the game and nodding your head along to the beat, like bam, 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 because you gotta like shoot and reload and melee attack to the beat of whatever music you're listening to. But like you build up like the meter, because of course there's a meter, and like if you hit like the maximum thing on the meter, the vocals come in.
I would never hear the vocals if you remember.
Well, you can turn the game. There's like accessibility and difficulty options in the game, so you can make like the windows of like clicking and stuff wider.
Yeah,
we'll go with wider. But like when all of a sudden like the vocals kick in and you play and you just like, oh my god, was like, yes, and then you like fuck up because you just start fucking headbanging.
Yeah.
And that's the Mel Hellsinger experience. Like, holy shit, this game is gonna pop in the same way Neon White did, I think, with the similar crowd. And I am gonna be lucky if I don't like get so into it, I just fucking smash my desk up like a guitar at the end of a fucking metal concert. Like, not out of anger.
Yeah.
Throw my TV out a window. You know, do something really like fucking rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, you've thrown a computer up before, so.
That's true. I did that. What else we got? We've got Immortality, which is the next game from Sam Barlow, which looks fucking weird. He made they're difficult to describe games, but if you remember Her Story or Telling Lies, like the FMV detective game,
yeah,
it's that kind of thing. Like Immortality, like there's like you go through footage of an actress that disappeared like many years ago, and there's like 3 unreleased films, and you have to figure out what happened to her. Looks cool. Like those games were awesome, so I'm just expecting more of the same from that. Goodbye Volcano High, which, I mean, I'm just waiting for a PlayStation to remember that exists. It'd be nice. We watch, dinosaurs at high school, with a potentially, shall we say, dramatic conclusion. The like it was at the PlayStation 5 showcase when they announced the PS5 release date, and it's like, I'd go, where's it gone? Where is it? Is this going to be another Hollow Knight situation? Just me screaming at PlayStation, like, where the fuck is this game?
Yeah.
We've got She Dreams Elsewhere, which I don't know when this is coming out, but it's fucking. I played a demo of it many years ago, and it's cool. It's one of those RPG Maker RPGs, which is like really trippy and really out there, and also about anxiety, depression, and I don't mean to like talk down on the game for that, but it looks really good. And I played it, like I said, I played like 2 hours of it in 2020. I feel like it might have been before the pandemic. Like it feels like a pre-pandemic event. Agent 64, Spies Never Die, which I played a demo of, and it's basically someone decided to make GoldenEye. Again.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Monster Prom 3, yep. Choo Choo Charles. I looked at that game when it got announced and I was like, okay, that's funny. And I was like, but I don't know if this should sustain a whole game. And then they brought it to Day of the Devs at E3 this year. And I was like, holy shit. They can make a whole game out of this. This looks cool. Fighting a spider train, and you gotta like explore and upgrade your own train. Yeah, sure, okay. Let's go. I'll fight Charles. And then the last one, I'm gonna end on some cuteness. Mail Time. Mail Time. Hell yeah. It's a cute as fuck game. I think there's a reference to it on, right there. On my right boob, there's a reference to the game there. The little mushroom fella. You play a little mushroom fella in a cottagecore world, delivering mail to all the other people in the forest. Q4 2022. Get a little mushroom van. And you deliver the mail. What's not love?
Hey, I played a game which was basically a fox trying to find all 4 seasons.
That was a cool thing. That was a cool game. I remember that game. Struggling to remember its name though. Seasons. There was something in the season. Something seasons. Seasons was a part of the name.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna look that up. Tweet it out. I'll just tweet it out randomly. The name of the game at some point. But that's it. So many other cool games I could do, but we're out of time for that part of the podcast. I'm going to quickly do games out. Games out this week. There is no... yeah, we'll get to it. Games out this week. On August 1st, we've got Retreat to End coming to PC. The year is 3600 CE. After narrowly avoiding extinction, humanity turned away from war and strife, choosing life and peace. Time for you to undertake the rite of passage, journey to the legendary inn, explore, forage, hunt, build, and meditate to finish the rite and find your place in the world. On August 2nd, Froggen comes to PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Played this as well. It's very good. Join Renata as she adventures across a world of mystical ruins with the titular Froggen. Froggen is an old-school platformer with the soul of the PS1/N64 era in which your frog-shaped grappling hook is your best friend. Also on August 2nd, the Mortuary Assistant comes to PC. I grabbed the blurb for it, and all it says is, Alone with the Dead. That's it. That's the blurb. On August 3rd, hey, sometimes you don't need any more than that, I guess. On August 3rd, you get South of the Circle on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. South of the Circle is an emotional narrative experience exploring the relationship between Peter and Clara, Cambridge academics caught up in the political conflict of the Cold War. The story focuses on the weight of life choices between career, true love, and the desire to keep our promises. On August 4th, we have Hard West coming to PC. Hard West 2 coming to PC. Hard West 2 is a journey to the heart of darkness in the American West. Take control of a supernatural posse and catch the mysterious ghost train. Outsmart, outcheat, and outgun your enemies in this turn-based tactics game set in a Wild West world where nothing is as it seems. Lastly, we got 2 games for August 5th. The first one is Gigabash coming to PC. Claim your place as a king among titans. Gigabash is a multiplayer arena brawler with a gigantic film-inspired kaiju, larger-than-life heroes, earth-shattering special attacks, and fully destructible environments. Lastly, on August 5th, we have Recipe for Disaster coming to PC. Recipe for Disaster is a management sim that captures the fast-paced, drama-filled environment of a professional kitchen and dining room. Build your dream restaurant, create recipes, design menus, and manage your staff, all while contending with demanding customers in disastrous situations. I really like the Mortuary Assistant's blurb. Like, I saw it as I was copy and pasting everything into the doc, and I went, okay then.
As an antiquester, it's called Seasons After Fall.
See, I knew Seasons, wasn't it? Seasons After Fall. Awesome. It's a good game. Very chill. We like wholesome games. I'm wearing a Wholesome Direct t-shirt. We like wholesome games here. I realize I'm saying that as I look behind me. The 3 plushies that you can see are Among Us, an angry octopus, and a psychotic Totoro. I had 4 choices when I bought that Totoro.
Isabella there as well, just over your shoulder.
Isabella's there, yeah, but then like Marcelina's like right behind her.
I think Isabella's like, you know, like the Doom guy irreparably now. So
I love that. That's the best canon I've ever heard. But yeah, like I had 4 options when I bought Totoro, like for expressions. And I thought the smiling one was a really good idea. But like it just sits behind me, looking like that the entire time, and I'm like, damn, maybe I should have gone for one of the other expressions. That's it. Like we gotta do a bit of OpenCritic Head-To-Head. We're not actually picking a one for the game. Sorry, I know I always say like everybody gets to play it because Moody complains because like all the guest hosts steal points from him, apparently just from him. And like, hey, my motto is everybody who gets on the podcast gets to play. But unfortunately, sometimes we don't do it, such as this week. The only game I was going to do it for already has an OpenCritic score. So, but we do have 2 results from 2 weeks ago because I just remember we missed last week's podcast because everybody was sick and or injured. So OpenCritic Head-To-Head, this is the game we usually play every single week where I try to guess the OpenCritic average of at least one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest to the score at the time of recording gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. 2 weeks ago, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of 2 games. The first one was Stray. I guessed it would get an 89, Moody guessed it would get an 80, and Averill guessed it would get an 85. At the time of recording, Stray has an OpenCritic average of 84, which gave Averill the point. We also tried to guess the OpenCritic average of a Live Alive. I guessed it would get an 80. Moody guessed it would get an 83. Avril guessed it would get an 85. And at the time of recording, it has an OpenCritic average of 81, which means I get the point and puts the scores at Amy 15, Moody 15, guests 3, with 0 draws. Did you listen to like the bit where we had like 4 weeks running, where we guessed the scores all correctly?
But like Moody's always getting the same number.
Yeah, but Mooney kept picking 80, and I kind of told shit on him for that.
Yeah.
Pick different numbers, man.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no OpenCritic head-to-head pick this week. We're banking it. We're gonna need it in the future. For double headers. So that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Very different podcast, but I like the vibes. It's nice to just get excited about video games.
It was a friendlier one because we weren't dealing with the news.
Yeah. Weird how that works.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do... I've been thinking about doing more of this kind of thing anyway. Maybe it's not necessarily like full podcasts where it's like...
Yeah.
We talk about not the news, but like maybe it's like every now and again, like dedicating like one part of the podcast to like, let's talk about something fun. Like, when Tori was on a few weeks ago, and we dedicated the entire first part of the podcast just to talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because I knew we could. Like between the two of us, I knew we could do it. We did a Final Fantasy VII remake spoiler podcast that was 2 hours long. I knew we could do it. And it's just fun to do that sometimes. Sadly, for next week's co-host, we shan't be doing that. But he knows what he's getting into. Everybody always knows what they're getting into. Apart from you, because you were here from episode 1. And to be fair, I didn't know what I was getting into.
No, none of the three of us who were in that first episode knew what we were getting ourselves into.
Yes, indeed. But that's going to do it. Keith, like, I feel like I say this every time you come back to the podcast, but like, I fucking love doing this with you, man. Like, it's always a pleasure to have you come back to classic Words About Games lineup. I just love it. Like, I love talking to you about stuff. So I'm not gonna get too mushy now. But
Let's end it.
Yeah, best end it. Sometimes I can go overboard with the emotions. Do you have any final thoughts or words that you would like to say?
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Love it. Fantastic. Well, all that's left to say now is bye. So say bye, Keith.
Bye, Keith.
Never gets old.